This is Out Loud and Laughing. Hi, Brian, and hello, everyone, to a off-schedule, special, dedicated episode to Brian's beloved, dear French Bulldog, Piper, who left us on Christmas this year.
Yep. Love a good bonus episode.
This is not
Don't
the reason.
love this topic.
Yeah, this isn't the reason we should be having bonus episodes, but she is very much deserving of her own special dedicated episode.
I know. I can talk about. So Piper.
Yeah, tell me what happened, because I have so many questions too. But let's start at the beginning and tell us.
No, listen. Piper was my French Bulldog. Well, mine and Adam's French Bulldog, and Adam and I got her when we started dating in we started dating in 2013, so we got her in 2014. So literally right a year in.
Too soon? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You guys really went for it, dog and all.
We kind of did, and so I think the reason why it hurts so deep is that she was there for everything, right? She was there from dating to moving in with each other to moving to London. That bitch flew business class with us. She moved back from London. We bought a home together. We had babies. She was there every step of the way with Adam and I. And, it's one of those things where we know that animals don't live forever. We know we lost our beloved Brody this year too. And it doesn't change the fact that you still want more time. She was 11 and a half and Brody was 5. Brody went too soon. But I would also say that Piper went too soon. Piper could have lived for 30 years and I still would have been saying that it wasn't enough. And same. So it's just, I don't know any story of anyone saying that it was time, but I do know that Piper told me it was time. And that's where I had to listen. And that was the hard part.
I definitely want to get through all of the details because I think it's important. And I really find why this episode being so special because it has to do with Piper and we loved her so much, but also, it's really helpful, I think, to everybody to know that we're not alone in grief. It was something I actually thought about and I actually wanted to bring it up to you. My mom actually brought it up because I was questioning whether or not I was even going to talk to you about it or not.
Yeah.
You just touched on Piper being there through all of these sort of milestones, and Brody had sort of been that for me. Brody was more though sort of an opening and a closing of a chapter in my life. And the grieving that I did was sort of alone because my mom even said, I think you had it sort of the worst because you had to do it alone. I was like, well, I don't know if it's worse, Mom. I said, I think it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these questions started to come up, obviously, how are you doing? How has this brought you and Adam together, or how are you guys both processing individually? And then the last part of it was how are you managing this with children? I think we all lose pets in our lives. And I think to make some value out of this, it's I would be really interested to hear how your experience has been different from mine.
Yeah. So just reversing a little bit, Piper this past summer in August, she was going to go in to get something removed from her back of her foot. And when they were about to put her to sleep to do the surgery. Those words ring differently now.
Yeah.
They just did some checks on her heart, and they saw an irregular heartbeat. So, they ended up not doing that surgery, and we had to go get a murmur test and all of these different things. And we went to oncology, and I ended up finding out that she had a 2-inch tumor on her heart, which, she's a Frenchie. Her heart's 2.5 inches. They're not the biggest little beings. So we ended up doing chemo radiation treatment in August, 3 days in a row. She was a trooper. She was such a fighter, that little one. And, so everything was fine. So we were supposed to wait until January to do scans to see how much it shrunk. You think about beginning of December, and now this dog starts wheezing, and we realize that she has pneumonia, and which pneumonia isn't good for anyone, especially an older dog. And they found that it looked like the tumor didn't shrink at all either. And so it was one of those things where, it wasn't great. She was being treated for pneumonia. When we got back from the wedding with your sister, Piper was doing better. And then literally the day, Christmas Eve, she was starting to wheeze a little bit more. And, we went to Christmas and we came home because we wanted her to stay home and relax. and she was just like her breathing, like her body was like an accordion. You could see like she was every breath was so hard for her. And I think that the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and mind you, I came home first with my parents. Adam hadn't come home with the kids yet. So I'm the one dealing with this. I always picked her up to bring her outside just because she's my princess and why not get put in the grass to go pee by being carried?
Roll out the red carpet, roll it back in.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally. And her back legs were not working well. Like she couldn't really walk. Like she did her little thing to like pee, but then she didn't. I picked her up. It just wasn't good. And so I brought her back inside and she was just shaking and I just laid with her and just talked to her and I just said, "Listen, this is your time, baby. You can go. I'm here for you, but if you want to wait, Dada's on his way." And she just looked at me and you could just tell every time I got up to go to the bathroom, she would just raise her head up to make sure she saw where I was going. And she would do that when she was healthy too, but just this time it was different. And so Adam got home. We took her to an emergency vet that our vet pre-called, and they basically said, like, "Listen, we can do oxygen, we can keep her overnight, we can see what we can do, but I think the inevitable is the inevitable." So we made the decision. I think it was a little bit
Mm.
easier for me. I think Adam had a harder time because, Adam likes answers, and I don't think we had all our answers, but I think I had the gut feeling, and I think he saw it in her. But, we don't want to let her go. So I think the one thing that I did that you also did, but it's interesting, and I would love to hear from you before I go into like the learnings after she died, is I've talked to so many people who have not been in the room when their dogs are put down. And I don't understand that concept. And I was there literally until they took her back out of the room. Like I didn't even want because they told me like they're like, "You can get up and leave whenever you're ready." I said, "No, you're gonna put her in a very safe space before I leave because I need to know that she is safe even though she's gone." And that's where I started losing it because I was like, and then they were like, "Okay, well then we'll bring her bed back out when we're done because we brought her in her bed, her blanket." And I'm like, "No, you're gonna leave her back there in her bed until it's time to cremate her because she needs to be comfortable." And John, I lost my shit on that vet. And luckily, one of the vet techs came in and go, "No, we can keep the bed. We'll keep the bed." And I'm like, You're not putting her on a cold table, like even
Yeah, no.
so. But it's so interesting that so many people I've heard they're like, "No, we just dropped them off and we couldn't be there for it." And I was like, the last moments of that animal, it should be with the one or two people that they spent their life serving, essentially, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I've heard a few people share that as well. And listen, to each their own. We're not here to shame anybody. I know you're not trying to
No.
do that. It's just hard to understand how. And I think this is where it like kind of shows a lot of our fortitude as well. So kudos to us for the strength because it's not easy. You started to ask me sort of like my experience with Brody, and I sort of had sort of the same one as you,
Mhm.
where I wouldn't have let him go without me being by his side.
Mhm.
And to some weird way, like and you could almost maybe even corroborate this, but like Piper wouldn't have let you go
Yeah.
without,
Right.
And so, it's like the hardest thing you'll ever have to do is to say goodbye, but like you almost have to dig as deep as possible to make sure that that goodbye has as much dignity and integrity as you promised that little being. Like,
I know.
yeah.
I
Oh,
know. So it
my
was
heart, my heart.
I mean,
Oof.
you did it, and it's so quick,
Yeah.
and the poor animals don't feel a thing, but it's just that final moments of them with you versus them not with you, and that gray area of literally, like, 10 seconds is hard, and I will never forget that look that she gave me when it was happening, and I think she was scared. I think she should have been scared because I would be, and she's at peace now, but, we have to figure out our new normal, which is tough
Yeah.
because she was with us for so long, but, you know
Did you find it Did you find yourself staying strong for her until she passed and then
No,
felt space to let your emotions flow, or
no, our emotions were flowing with her,
yeah.
she felt it, I think she knew, and then she also got a double time, like, Brody got you, she got me and Adam in both ears, so she had, like, no peace at the end of her road, like,
Yeah.
she was probably almost, like, man up to both of us, no, but was the right decision.
I mean, I had me, my sister, Meredith, and the vet's wife, Jackie, my other dear friend. So I was actually very fortunate to not be alone.
Yeah, you were surrounded
And
by people, and
yeah.
yeah, I get it. So I love that Piper passed on Christmas because I think you are the one that put it in my brain. And I just think it's so beautiful that she will always have Christmas. So every Christmas, we know that we will light a candle for her. We will
Yep.
think of her, and that's a good thing. And that's not a bad thing.
It's not, and, it's very special because actually the other day when I went back in my phone to go pull a picture of Brody, I was like, "Was it March 17th or was it April 17th?"
I know.
Like, 12/25. And
25.
how Piper for those, listeners who are a little bit further, out than our immediate close friends and family, and even some of our close friends and family, 2025 has been a big year for our family. Piper sort of being the, um, as she should have been,
The
sort of
finale.
the finale, right? I mean,
Fucking A.
not to compare pets to grandmothers, but to include in the amount of loss. We lost our grandmother, I lost Brody, you lost Piper, my mom lost her dog, my
Your
sister and
sister.
her husband lost their dog. Like, it's just been a year.
I see a couple of things at play. First,
Yeah.
our abuela left, and then Brody, right? I think that was the order. Or maybe
Yep.
I think that was the
Nope. It
order.
was it was Abuela and then Brody. Yep.
It was abuela then Brody. And so I think what I'm learning is that our abuela is a selfish ass bitch. She was up there and she was bored as hell. So she literally picked off all four dogs because she never had one and she always wanted them. And she said, why not get the ones that are already trained?
I mean, they were. Listen, if that's the story, then she's got great taste in dogs. That's all I have to say.
So yeah, so going back to your original question though, I think it's an interesting thing because Adam and I are grieving very differently. I'm grieving outwardly less, and he's grieving outwardly more. Meaning
Mm.
he's finding the littlest things and seeing the littlest things and just having breakdowns. I think as the days go on, it's getting a little bit better, but I think he just everything's reminding him of her. And I think it's happening to me as well, but I think I'm more internalizing it where he's very much like I'll see him now and he'll just be crying and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, what was the memory now?
Yeah.
So I think we'll meet more in the middle eventually. Like I'll probably start crying more. He'll probably start crying less. But the kids was an interesting conversation because we Piper died at 10:34 p.m. So my parents were here. My parents knew, so they took the kids up to take a bath and they did that stuff and we went to the vet. So Piper died late at night. Um, so obviously the kids are gonna wake up and Piper's not gonna be here anymore. So Adam said we need to tell them and we need to tell them in their room before they go downstairs. So we did Kenzie first. Kenzie's 6. Kenzie is a little more in tune with death. Like she understands it a little bit more. I mean, as much as a 6-year-old could. But we just said, listen, Piper was sick. We went to the doctor and she's not sleeping. And, we don't want to do the heaven, the angels, all of that stuff. Like, we don't have to get into that, but you get it. We don't want to get into that stuff. But we
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
just said that, Piper's with Abuela now. Because Kenzie understands Abuela died. And so Kenzie's first thing is, so Piper died? And so we said, yes, Piper died. Like, we're not going to lie about it. So she was okay. She said, okay. And then she went downstairs, had her day. She broke down once on that
Oh,
day.
interesting.
She started just bawling. She was like, I miss Piper, which is interesting because Kenzie never interacted with Piper, but totally fine. And then we went to Ollie's room and, Ollie's 4. So we were a little more like getting into it slowly. We were just like, Ollie, like, Dada unpacked the car last night with all your toys and, like, all this stuff. And he was like, okay. And we're like, we have something to tell you. We told him the exact same thing. And he was like, so Piper's not here anymore? And we said, no, Piper's not here anymore. He's like, can I go play with my toys? And we said, yes, of course, go play with your toys. And it hasn't really hit him. But I think the resilience on children is so interesting. Like, I don't invalidate the love that Ollie and Kenzie had for that dog. Like, Ollie will lay on the floor and hug her all the time. But they're so able just to move on and find happiness in other things that they are able to move on, which I think there's something beautiful in that adults should probably take from that too. We can keep crying about these people that are gone, but they're not coming back as a result of all of that.
I think what kids are more in tuned with is how they can uh, they understand that they can make themselves feel better, they can self-soothe, and I almost, like, see that in the example with Ollie, where I don't necessarily think that it didn't register the same as it did with
Yeah.
Kenzie. I almost think that he didn't necessarily have all the words for what it was he was thinking or feeling, but
Mhm.
he immediately knew that he always feels good when he plays with his toys. And so to make himself like kind of be okay in a moment that he didn't even maybe didn't have the words for it. And I could also be making this up, but like to some
Yeah.
degree, what I really love about children also is that they do know where to go find joy. And I think that's a really good reminder for us all.
I think so too. And, at the end of the day, I think it's gonna hit him a month, a year or 2 from now when he's like, "Where's Piper?" And we'll ask again and we'll have to tell him, and that's when it will hit him. But we all grieve differently, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think we all need to just find comfort and patience in that, right? I think there's been moments where I told Adam, like, "Why are you still crying?" And I need to stop myself because that's his journey with this grief. And as much as I'm not as much anymore, it hits me though, for sure. But you just need to, I think we need to have patience with each other on how we go through these kind of things.
Yeah, Piper was the reason why I got Brody.
Mm-hmm.
Piper and I had a fun relationship. I always like enjoyed interacting with her. Towards the end, I felt our bond to be stronger, as almost as if she
Mm-hmm.
had recognized me over the years, especially the past few years coming to visit you both in New York. Um, Piper you guys just gave Piper the best life. That dog was the most spoiled. She had walked the streets of New York, London, Miami. She visited us in wine
She's
country.
been everywhere.
She also was so gentle and tender with the babies when they
Never
brought
bit a
them in.
being. Yeah.
She isn't necessarily the closure. I think she's the constant reminder of where your family started and was a great catalyst on beginning yours and Adam's family. And she will
Yeah.
always live in our hearts, Brian,
I know. She will forever live on Christmas Day.
on Christmas Day.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me have this moment, this bonus episode, but I just felt like we had to honor her a little bit and give her some time and some space and put her out on the ether. So now this lives on forever.
We love you, Pipe.
Love you, Piper.
Bye, babe.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.